Tucker, I am so excited to do this interview with you. You've been with us for a while. I remember that I was with you when you first made the decision to come join us, but let me just start by saying thank you for being here. And I'm excited, especially to interview you because you've always been so honest and vulnerable from the get-go. So without further ado, I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, how old you are, what you do, where you're from.
My name is Tucker Perry, and then I'm Director of Operations for G2 Metalworks in Laramie, Wyoming. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a really small town. That's kind of like one of my little limiting things is there's only 30,000 people here.
God, I remember that was one of the struggles you had when you first came on. Okay, well, good. So tell us a little bit about what your life was like before joining the Attractive Man.
Oh, I was in a really, really dark place. I've posted a few videos before, but basically my fiance left me kind of at the end of COVID, like completely ghosted me. I took that very personally, was very hurt. And then at a certain point, like I got like during all that, I got probably up to like 400 pounds and work really was suffering. My social life was suffering. Like all my friends moved away during COVID. It was kind of a really bad time. And I had a few people die in my life at the same time. It was just pretty dang close to rock bottom. I think I even talked like considered suicide a couple times, right? Towards the end there, like right around 4th of July.
Oh,
And then I was like, a certain day I just woke up and like I gotta start changing things. And so like started eating better, worked out. Like I lost about 70 pounds, still trying to lose some, working through that. And then I started researching pickup artists. And I don't know, I came down to a couple other ones. I can't, they're driving like Kinsey Noble and then like Harley Quinn and then Matt. I don't know why Matt was the only guy because I knew myself personally I'd have to work with a girl because I clash and I definitely tend to dominate when I shouldn't dominate sometimes. And so I knew I'd have to get with a little lighter touch. And so talked to the other people, like emailed Matt a couple times and the other people that was previously mentioned. And eventually he got me to set up a call. And then you're the one who answered.
yeah, I remember that day really well because you were very honest and vulnerable on that call. That really stayed with me. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing this. I'm sure a lot of people will be surprised to know this about you, but a lot of people will relate to what you're saying. I want to rewind a little bit here and go before your fiance. What was dating life? What was life and dating life like for you then?
Oh, it'd be like before my fiance. Okay,
Yeah.
we talked about like I'm a very persistent person, and like before I had met my fiance, I kind of went a very mechanical way of trying to figure this out. I literally asked like 105, 109 straight women to get a date before she was the one who said yes.
So you were
And
just
so,
doing approaching to and waiting for someone to say yes.
yeah,
What were your approaches like back then?
I don't even know. Like I can't really bring that as like such a different frame of mind. Like I was very negative. Like I can remember those videos that you showed me, like the first pro boot camp I did with you. And I was like, man, you could hear me mumbling negative things to myself. And so imagine that was there. And I was probably very angry at the time too. So I imagine I came off that way too. And then my fiance at the time, she was like, you even came off extremely arrogant, but you were the only person who had asked me out since I moved to Wyoming. And she's like, so I said yes.
And then if we fast forward a bit to where you were in one of the darkest moments of your life and your fiance left, you had a couple people dying, it was just friends moving. You said that you were in a bad place, but one day things you started doing better. Do you remember what it was, what that thought or something that happened was that motivated you to take things and turn them around?
I think it was like what I said, like it was the 4th of July about driving home one night from work and I contemplated to drive into this oncoming semi just to end it. And then I was like, I'm not a quitter. I do not give up. And so kind of just like from that day, just yeah, that was kind of the moment. I'm like, I'm not a quitter. I do not give up.
It's powerful. And you started with small little changes.
Yeah, like yes, getting back to the gym, trying to like go out and approach and meet people, but it wasn't going too well, but I was still trying and keeping track of things.
What would you
And
say to someone out there that's feeling the way that you felt that night?
I mean, there's hope and don't try to do it alone. I mean, I'm an extremely smart person and I couldn't quite figure it out on my own. There was things that I didn't know and didn't understand. I didn't know about myself at the time. That's a big one. That is a huge one. There's at the time I thought it was kind of a negative thing. I have this ability where I can get anybody to start talking about themselves and tell me things that they don't tell anybody else. And I used to always get kind of frustrated and be like, oh, they're friend zoning. And now I'm like, oh, I can talk to anybody for any reason. And then I can now direct the conversation and take it where I want it to go.
So now we're fast forwarding a little bit more. You joined TAM and tell us about your experience. What was it like being in the program?
And I think I had my first boot camp with you, and I couldn't even talk to the models then. And you just had me like, instead of talking to the models, just go blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah,
I
blah,
remember
blah.
that.
Yeah. But by the end of that, I went up to, I had a couple really good approaches from some strangers during the day. And then Brent and I had, and Alok had like the super hot lawyer chick that we really close. And then I think I ended up going bar hopping one night after the little club you always have us go to. We went bar hopping with some random girls after that. So yeah, I mean, it was completely kind of blew my mind.
What was it that blew your mind?
Like part of like I'm a small town boy, and then like I really dislike bars and stuff like loud music and clubs, but I guess it just surprised me that I could do that. I never, yeah, had that kind of, or even now that ongoing success. Like
Mhm.
I succeed more than I fail, as opposed to failing more than I succeeded.
By you saying that it's surprised that you can do that, by that you mean going up there and talking to people, approaching women?
Yeah, approaching women in LA at a club, and yeah.
What do you think was it that was holding you back if it wasn't the approaches?
A lot of I think it was just that negative mindset I went into with it, and I didn't always. I think it's just I didn't have faith in myself that I could lead the interaction the way I wanted to lead it and take things where I wanted to take them.
And when did that start changing for you? When did you start seeing that you were able to have the kind of interactions you wanted?
I don't know. It was very gradual. It was like at a certain point, it was like when we were looking at the videos and stuff, like if I did the of all the approaches, and I went from talking negatively to saying like, you got this, let's go. Yeah, like totally. Oh, like how like that last boot camp when I approached the policewoman. That was beyond awesome.
Well, why don't you share with the viewers because they weren't there, but paint the picture for them.
Because that weird, is it Micah? I think it was Micah from South Africa. We were approaching with you recording us, and we're just walking around, and we're just taking turns. And Micah's like, "Hey, that's a pretty attractive policewoman. It looks like she's going somewhere." And I'm like, "Damn right." And so I just went up. He's like, "Do it." And I'm like, "Okay." And I went up to her. And I'm like, "You're fucking sexy." And she was like, she kind of stammered a little bit, and then she was like, "I have a call. I got to get going." And I was just like, "Well, I'm Tucker. Nice to meet you." And she went off. But yeah, I was like, I got the policewoman in full gear when
Right.
she was at work to completely stop and talk to me, engage.
And she did introduce herself back, actually.
It's
She's
okay.
good. Okay. So what do you think you're sharing that your biggest struggles were your negative mindset, your belief that you weren't able to do it? That was the thing that was stopping you. Were there any other frustrations or hesitations or any limiting beliefs that were causing you not to succeed at first?
I mean, I was a little worried about my weight because I am a big guy. I'm a very big guy. And I guess at a certain point, I started to really own that, which helped a lot.
Do you remember what helped you own that?
I mean, I just don't I can't remember. Like, there wasn't like a single aha incident. It's just something that, like, the only time I never thought about it until Todd was like, I want to be like Tucker and just own how big I am and just kind of sit in the room. And I'm like, okay, there we go. And that helped. Oh, and I guess the biggest probably aha moment we ever did was I always kind of felt like I was an older brother and took care of siblings. Like, like my parents divorced, my mom totally did not take any kind of responsibility. And so I took care of my little sister and such. And so I was always the person that made sure she ate and got food and stuff before I did. And I always thought she resented me for it because we always fought. We never really got along. But anyways, as we're going through the boot camps and stuff, I started to like telling people kind of what to do, like show up on time, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And then you one day when we were up there, you asked them, like, do you think Tucker is being an asshole by telling stuff like how to do that? Like no, it's not. I don't remember what they said, but I just remembered it wasn't negative. And I think that was one of the really things that really clicked for me. Like, should just lead and most people are going to follow and not kind of worry about anybody else.
So now let's go through a little bit more of the program. We do a lot of things in the program. What do you think, which parts of the program do you think helped you specifically the most?
The model interactions by far,
And
that was a big step. And then the fact that you, like at all the boot camps, you're doing it with a bunch of other guys going through the same thing. They may have different problems and different issues, but you're all putting the effort to make yourself better. And they're there to help you to make you better too. And so it was just this, I think that right there. I mean, if you fell down, somebody would pick you up. A few guys that pulled me to the side and said they were very disappointed in something I did. And I was like, well, thank you for telling me that. And you're right. And thank you. I mean, I'm happy you stepped up. And he's like, he's actually a coach now. And he was like, I can't believe you took that so well. This was something that's usually really hard for me. And I'm like,
When did you start to see wins? Like, when did you start to see women responding to you differently? When did you, or what was it that, if you remember, were your wins? Did you go on dates? Were you doing online dating? Kind of describe what that journey was like for you.
I think it was after that second boot camp. And I remember approaching a college age girl and she ended up on the track team and I got her number and we went on a date. But I was just like, I just got this really hot girl that was literally less than half my age. I got to the point where I think 9 out of 10 approaches, I get a number. Usually about probably 3 out of the 10 numbers I get, I can turn into a date. And usually if there's once there's a date, it's usually my choice if I want to go to a second one. They keep calling and texting and I'm like, no, you weren't quite right. You're a little too needy, a little too eager. Yeah. But I think that was the biggest thing is when I felt like I was the one who got to choose and got to make the choices. And it wasn't doing anything out of desperation. I think
That's a huge one. And from where you started, where you felt like you were a boy coming from a really small town to now where you can get dates pretty easily and it's your choice and you choose and you're not coming from that place of desperation or neediness is everything. So I love that you shared that. The other, I mean, you had so many wins to program, Tucker, that we could go on, but another huge win that you experienced too was your professional life. Do you want to share that?
Started this program and we just started like, I got a promotion here, got a promotion there. And then I got to talking to you about how one person higher up in the food chain, like I like him, but I know he's not going to be around because he hates change. What should I do about it? And we talked about that, gave me some good advice. I'm director of operations for the Rocky Mountains. So I make more than twice what I did when I started the program.
And you think it's directly correlated?
Yes. I mean, it gave me a little more confidence and I took more risks than I normally would and made friends more than I would normally make. Even like I talked to you about that girl coworker and stuff and like how to interact with her better and get things rolling. So yeah. Oh yeah.
What was the most difficult part of the process for you?
Probably be showing up to that first boot camp. That was
the first action.
Yeah, driving into LA that night beforehand, I was overwhelmed, scared. I got one little thing, like I just remembered, like I saw you commented on a post on Facebook about persistence.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this little tiny redhead at the gym. I tried to open her like 6, 7 times in the last probably 6, 7 months. Like I'll try every once in a while. And then last Friday, I was talking to this older lady, like Kathleen, and she's like, well, what friends are you out making today? And then the redhead walks by, her name's Nikki. And I was like, Kathleen here is making fun of me because I keep trying to talk to you and all you give me is a hi. And it was so funny, just stopped her dead in the tracks. And then old Kathleen's like, no, that's not what I said. And I'm like, and just started talking to her and like she's trained for a marathon and all this. And I was just like, it took me 7, 8 times, but I finally got her talking, got her number, but it was slow persistence.
You highlighted two things here. One is persistence, which so many people are scared to do. But the second, and equally as important, is that it was a non-needy persistence. It was a detached persistence, right? Because a lot of people, the reason they don't want to persist is they think, oh, I don't want to bug her, or I don't want to be creepy, or I don't want to come off awkward and needy. But if you're coming from a place of like, you know what, one day I'll get you. I'll keep trying. And you come with this kind of unaffected energy to you, this playfulness. That's when you really struck gold. And it sounds like you hit that balance between the two. So I love that you did that. You're now trying to find the woman you want to marry, but you're coming at it from you or being the chooser, not because there are not any options in a small town.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I'm like, okay, we want to date. And no, I didn't like you. Or sitting here talking to you for 15 minutes. I realized, no, you're not it. You have a good day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, what are your any last words for someone who is thinking about doing personal development or coaching? They're not sure. They're not where they want to be, but they don't know if they need it. What would be your parting words to them?
You don't know what you don't know. And you need a different person's perspective to help you down the line. I mean, Fortune 500 people pay these coaches lots and lots of money. Me, I would paid more, would so have paid more to do this.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tucker.